Amorim's in serious trouble. He might walk. Listen to the interviews from ITV and then MUTV. We mentioned that you can't change 22 players. So something has to change. And then he said, we have a game to prepare for, and then we'll think things through. And I don't blame him if he does walk. People ask for him to be sacked. There's no excuse for anyone on that field tonight. There's enough quality in that squad that was picked to beat Grimsby, a League Two team. It wasn't as if it was a fully changed, it was kids and reserves. They're all first team players getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds per week to represent Manchester United. They play better football than us by far. They're the best team won on the night, and I can't fault that. It took us until the last 15 minutes to actually show some backbone and play for the team. We get a goal from Mbumo, and Harry gets one at the end to take it to penalties. And the penalties are a crapshoot anyway. We had 28 shots, 9 on target. That's enough to win the game twice. So whether you want to blame Amorim, the system, the formation, the players that are on the field are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think I said it after the Fulham game. You could see the visual frustration in his face when he's asking people to do things and they're just not doing it. So I wouldn't blame him if he walked. I believe he deserves time. Now, reactionary fans will say sack him like they always do. But when are we going to come to the realization that the players have been recruited to this club down tools far too often and far too easy? We're so vulnerable to crosses. That's something I expect Amorim to fix. That's his job. That's the coach. But if the players aren't doing what he wants, what's he supposed to do? People will say change the system, change the formation. These players have proven that they don't work in a 4-3-3 under Ten Hag. I don't know what the answer is. Nobody does. Everyone seems to think they do. I'd like to think that a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 would work. But again, I'm not sold on the personnel that's there. We're mentally weak. We lose 1v1 battles constantly. And players keep getting away with it. Amorim's in a lose-lose situation here. So that was embarrassing. You can see the embarrassment in his interviews. The way that he spoke about the players have clearly shown what they want, the way they played. That's a telling sign. That's a sign that they're not playing for this manager. Again, another manager they're not playing for. And I just, everyone's saying he needs a midfielder and a goalkeeper for this system to work. Yeah. But again, I just don't see the rest of the players that are still there helping that situation. Andre Onana might be the worst keeper I've ever seen at Man United. And that's not Taibbi. This clown. Front post again. Cross that he comes to claim and bundles through 4 players. He's just... Our recruitment has been awful. Barring, obviously, we're not going to bring Cunha and Bumo and Sesto into this. They've been here a month. Who's shown since Fergie? Bruno. That's about it, right? I mean, Leach is injured. I like Leacher. Yoro's probably got the biggest potential right now. I think he's playing really well. wasn't in the squad tonight. Sorry, or even wasn't in the squad. Mazraoui, is he world class? No, but he's a grafter. You know, the bomb squad's been and gone. Hopefully, well, some of them are still here somehow. It's frustrating, man. It really is. The big thing I'm so annoyed about is the fact that we can play like we did against Arsenal and should have won the game to then regress so much against Fulham and regress even further against Grimsby. Like I said, fair play to Grimsby. They were the better team tonight. They deserve to play and go through and win. I'm worried about Amorim just walking. I believe that we've been doing the right things off the field to make the club better. Forget the system. Forget formations. Forget anything. There was enough quality on that field tonight to win the game. We need to focus on the players on the pitch, week in, week out, that stink the place up. It's too easy to blame the manager and change the manager. But we rinse and repeat again. We sack Amorim or he walks. We're back to square one again. Whether you think someone can come in and do a job, no one's been able to. Everything's a hypothetical. I'm speaking from facts here. We might have won a few trophies. We might have finished third, a couple of times, like whatever. But no one's been able to change the narrative of this team. Not one person. Not one world-class manager. It's just, when are we going to start blaming the players? We blame the Glazers, the recruitment, Ed Woodward, all that stuff. For sure. I get that. But these players are not cutting the mustard. They're not picking it up for the manager, for the team, for the badge. I get people asking him to be sacked. He's probably going to walk. Again, I don't blame him. Let me know your comments, your thoughts below. We're back this weekend with a preview of Burnley. Is Amorim's still in charge? Is Mainu still going to be here? Bruno? Are we going to bring in a keeper, a midfielder? Are we going to get rid of the bomb squad? Stuff, man. Peace.